Yeah, we are actually on the right slides as well. Amazing. So today it's all been about 5G properties, the combination and the value. And this picture, I was kind of trying to double this building which is lighted from the outside and visualizing how it should look like. And it's not just one building, it needs to be many buildings. It needs to be all buildings. So, and we know where we are, and we have seen all the fantastic opportunities which might be if we come there. So how do we get there? What's the challenges? And do we have any bright ideas? And luckily for us, it's the important people who are now here left. So we will discuss this together with our eminent panel and wishing them back on stage again. So Mikael and Jenny from this morning, Lars Åke also from during today, and we have a new person, a new face, Bengt Nordström. Big applause.
Where do you want us? Here?
Yeah,
here?
I was thinking 2 tables. That's fantastic. Yeah. You can share. Huh?
Cool. Hi again.
Hi.
I think, should we start then with maybe just a quick summary of your impressions and key takeaways from the day? And I'll go with you first, Lars.
Yeah, I can start. As you know, I said before that I'm in the retail and now the real estate business. And I actually think especially after watching all the presentations today, that retail and retail real estate are probably those who can gain the most from an updated connectivity and from the high speed. That's very clear, when you see all this today. So that's really something to bring to my teams and to Music and URW. I was happy to see URW logo on the list of Saliar on this one. So we'll see what happens.
Cool. And what about you, Bengt?
I think my most important takeaway is that we don't need to worry about if there is a need for 5G indoors. I think we have had so many presentations here that say, if you just deliver this technology to us, we will build super cool applications and solutions. So no worry on that side. Very, very happy to hear that.
Yeah, very clear takeaway there. And Mikael, thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think building on what Bengt said, when you build a great infrastructure, innovation will come. I think we've already seen people actually having innovation before you have a great infrastructure. So I think when you see all this being deployed, you will just really start to explore and find new opportunities, new revenues, more savings. I think it was super interesting to see just how you can reduce the entry barrier by having an infrastructure. You don't have to redeploy a new network in the building, you just go directly for that application. I think that was very inspirational.
And Jenny, what's been going through your mind?
Great comments, all of it. I am, as you already heard this morning, I'm already a 5G believer, so I'm with you, Bengt. We know this will happen. The demand is there. This is what the consumers will ask for. This is what your customers will ask for, on your point as well, on the retail and offices. So from our perspective, it was great. On the one hand, showing the technology. What we do is try to lower the barrier of getting this technology there with the future-proofing, flexibility, making sure it's easy to operate, making sure there's a sustainability angle and low energy consumption as well to it. So, and it's quite beautiful and hopefully non-invasive as well. I hope you like the design of it. But also I think one of the key takeaways, speaking to many of you, is that it's great to have this arena to meet. We know 5G, we have some experts on real estate, we have prop tech, but getting everyone together, that's where the magic hopefully happens for continuing this dialogue on how do we leverage this platform of 5G.
Okay.
Great reflections.
Yeah.
Before we now jump into this kind of the challenge and the hurdles and so on, how to make it happen, maybe I go back to you and continue on this you being in the middle of retail and real estate. So maybe we have covered it, but values, what can you see more? If we can make this fantastic world happen, what could be the values? Or
I truly believe what I said earlier today, that it's really important, you know. It's everything comes with investments, even if you say it's for free. There is always,
Almost.
there is always an investment for someone. And the question is, what is nice to have and what is must have, and what is nice. And even if it's a must have in the future, the question is, when do we do those? I think also that at the moment everyone is looking at typical cellular solutions, those kinds of things. But I know I told you yesterday my story about the hotel Wi-Fi, which I think is really interesting. That if you go back 15 years, some of you will follow me, or 20 years. You went to the hotel and then there was a Wi-Fi, but you had to pay for it. But just 6 months later, you just refused to pay for it. You didn't really book a hotel where you had to pay for it. And then the Wi-Fi was free, but it was extremely slow, and you were irritated. And then you booked another hotel where you have a faster Wi-Fi. And I know thousands of people who did exactly the same, from the people like us traveling all the time. I think this will be exactly the same thing. The question is just, when do we start? And I think for retail, there are so many things. I still think that for retail and retail real estate, it's really the big landlords like Unibail, Rodamco, Westfield, Music, who is a provider of services, that needs to do a kind of a common project with a couple of the big ones, to really make it happen, instead of those small R&D things that they do in a small box in New York or somewhere.
Great. Bengt, I've got another one for you. So you mentioned that obviously the big takeaway for you today was there is a clear need for indoor 5G. But my understanding is you've been in the telco industry for quite a long time. And
40!
You've been through a few mobile generations. And I think it would be good to understand from your perspective what the need is today and in the near future for indoor 5G or indoor connectivity, and what can be done to speed this deployment up.
Yeah. So I think I like the analogy with Wi-Fi, starting in that. And if you go back in this industry, when we started basically 40 years ago, we were providing voice service, and we were using low frequencies. So we provided actually pretty good coverage indoors for voice services. Then since, I would say, 2008 or something, we've been surrendering indoor to a large extent to Wi-Fi infrastructure. So, most of us in an office environment are using Wi-Fi when we send and receive data from our smartphone. We have Wi-Fi connected to our laptops and so forth. So I think now we are at a crossroad, I would say. Either Jenny and her colleagues in the industry, the CSPs, can decide, would we like to be indoors? Would we like to provide cellular services indoors, high capacity, high throughput, low latency, and be part of building all these cool solutions and applications, digital retail and so forth? So, if we don't do anything, it would be a Wi-Fi and other connectivity solutions territory. It's up to the industry to decide. And that's, I like Proptivity's initiative. I think for me it sort of provides a solution to where should the money come from if we like to play indoors with cellular. Because it's very clear to me that if you have a capex budget of 15 to 18% when you're a CSP, that's sort of the normal range, that will not take you indoors. That helps you to build 5G outdoors. So if you need to be indoors, the money needs to come from elsewhere. And that's not only a 5G indoor problem, it's also in other parts of how we can provide 5G deeper into factories and denser grid than we have today. So it's all up to CSPs and network equipment vendors. Would we like to be indoors or not? If you wonder what the answer is, of course we should. The more coverage we have, the more relevant we are for other industries. It's protecting revenues.
Well put, thank you.
Sounds so easy when he says it. Okay, Mikael, so what can we do to make this happen, this connected property?
I think building on Bengt again here, there is a need to collaborate between property owners and the operators. If you look into some benchmarks like revenue per square meter, it's almost 50 to 100 times higher for a real estate owner than for a telco if you count on the indoor square meter. So of course, finding a solution where both benefits out of this is important. And providing a very good infrastructure with the end user, either by the increase of rent and by a better mobile subscription, is actually paying for it. So I think there's absolutely no contradiction, but it needs to coexist and it needs to work together in a good way. I think that's a little bit how at least we see the answer of making this happen. And then, of course, doing so in an efficient way so we don't build 3 networks. It's enough to have 1 network in there.
Yeah. And Jenny, you mentioned a little bit before about building these solutions that we need to make this happen. Can you tell us a little bit more about Ericsson's role when it comes to enabling this indoor connectivity for real estate?
Yeah, lots have been said, but we just want to make this happen because we see it as instrumental for very many reasons. And then as said, I mean, we should make sure there's a low barrier for entry in terms of technology. That should be easy to use, it should be catered for your customers. But we also see this increased demand in terms of it could either be one operator installing these indoor solutions. We see this increased demand for multi-tenant type of solutions that we're working together with you in Proptivity. And one other early market is US as well. So that has been a lead customer in our product development on some of the products you saw that are able to handle this multi-tenant solution. And that is, of course, key in this setup, that if you want to optimize the CapEx setup, you need to make sure you have the technology to cater for that. So I think for us, this flexibility is key. Indoor will happen, it must happen. I would love to see Sweden as a leading market, a front runner in this, and the different ways for making sure we cater for this. And I think it will be different type of installations to cater for different type of needs as well.
Thank you, I'd love to see that too.
We have been so time efficient.
Wow.
So we have actually spare time. So I don't have any more questions on my kind of scorecard here, but have we missed something? Anyone have a comment which we actually should talk about, which we haven't talked about? Now when we have this eminent audience.
I can ramble on for a few minutes if you like. No, but mentioning talking a bit from the Accenture angle, because I mean we of course play a part in a market development like this one, and I have to say that when I work with my colleagues who are deeply engaged in digital retail, for instance, in logistics, in intelligent asset management, and all the kind of advanced solutions we build for enterprises and industrial clients, we are pretty, I would say, agnostic to connectivity solutions. We always select, what is available, what is working, what is reliable, trying to make that as easy as possible, as good solution as possible. And I think there is a very important connect to make. If sort of the signal, like from Proptivity, comes that 5G indoors will be available in many places, then the sort of solution architects at Accenture, they will start to plan for building applications and solutions on that technology. Because we are very pragmatic about, we take what works and what is best and what is most cost efficient. So to get that connection and to bridge that gap is super important for this to take off.
So let's build it and they will come.
Basically, well, I normally do I like the analogy with iPhone. I mean, if it wasn't for Apple and iPhone, we wouldn't have had a mobile broadband market. It would have existed, but much smaller. So, we built a network, HSPA at the time, and then Apple could say, okay, I can build cool software. I can do an app store on top of this connectivity solution, and I can receive vast amounts of data. And the rest is history, right? With applications and data traffic growth of 100% for many years and so forth. So yes, if this is provided, I'm not the least worried that the solution architects and innovators and entrepreneurs will make use of that.
Can I add a comment to that clever point by Bengt? So on building on that 5G economy, I think we saw 4G, we were early out on 4G in Sweden and in the Nordics, and that's why we have some of these app economies or successful app companies like Spotify and Klarna and others having been sort of born and brought up in Sweden. So again, we talked about Sweden, and I think if we can be early out with building this infrastructure for real estate, maybe we'll have some new cool, fantastic export companies brought up or born from that. So I think it's not a standalone business case on what we see now, but I think we will have more values and more use cases for sure coming in the future that we haven't seen yet on top of 5G.
And with that excellent comment, I think let's end there.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, with that, we are finished. Thank you for bearing with us.
Yeah, tack för idag.
Yeah.
I actually do speak Swedish. No, I don't.
Was it as hot as you
It wasn't as hot as I thought it was going to be this morning. So
prepared with
it's
the
actually-
clothes and change? And,
Yeah, I kind of like it now. Does anyone want to stick around and I can... No.
From
We're
being 10
already-
minutes late, we are now basically half an hour early. So that was good.
Wow, how did that happen?
I have no idea. Practical stuff. We have recorded. We have 3 4K cameras here. We have recorded everything. We're gonna place everything we are allowed to place and share it as soon as we possibly can. So that's going to happen afterwards, and we will communicate as soon as. And then we have other information as well. I think some of the reports.
Yeah, we also Ericsson has just been working with ABI, the industry analyst firm, on a 5G for real estate report too. So that is going to be straight to your inboxes with a thank you and some links to the videos, and you'll be the first people to see it. So any feedback you have on that, or thoughts or discussions, bring them my way. And thank you. I think that's it.
Thanks for joining today.
Yeah, thank you so much.